Thank you, Marty, and thanks everyone for being here. Thanks to Foch for organizing this conference. And I want to thank the panelists from the first panel for starting us off on a positive note and talking about the future. I'm going to start my presentation off talking about the past. Not only the past act, but what I believe is going to be the past for the Tennessee walking horse. And I will also end with a discussion on the future. As most of you know, the PAST Act has been introduced into Congress. I'll get into it a little bit about what it does, but first I want to talk about the reasons why. I think we all know why we're here and why the PAST Act was introduced. It's soaring. It's soaring. It's been going on for way too long. It's chemical soaring that you see here. It's pressure shoeing. It's the use of the stacks that are used to aid and abet soaring and hide soaring. It's the bands that are being used to soar horses and tear horses' hooves off. It's the pressure shoeing that's going on in the flat-shod divisions of the walking horse, the spotted saddle horse, and the racking horse divisions. It's the fact that the Horse Protection Act has not succeeded in ending soaring after over 40 years. We're fortunate to have the father of the Horse Protection Act, Senator Joe Tidings, with us today. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Senator Tidings intended, as did Congress, to end soaring, but there have been too many loopholes found and too many ways to evade detection and too inadequate enforcement. You know, the USDA is out there doing the best job they can with the limited funds that Congress appropriates to them. They're forced to rely on industry self-regulation currently because of the amendment to the Horse Protection Act in 1976, which mandated that the industry play a role in enforcement. It hasn't worked. Mr. Bill Harlan has said it doesn't work. The USDA has said this doesn't work. AAP has said it doesn't work. It's a failure and it's got to be abolished. The industry has found ways, as I said, over the years to beat the system. You find one way of detecting soaring and another way is found. It's been a cat and mouse game for over 40 years. Whether it's scar removal treatments or injections or topical numbing agents, the stewarding that goes on the barn that was documented so vividly in the Jackie McConnell investigation, switching of horses, ticket taking, it just goes on and on. The ways to evade detection and beat the system are endless. As I said, self-regulation hasn't worked. The penalties have been slaps on the wrist. They have not been deterrents. The violators can continue to train while on suspension and even get horses in the ring and continue to win. This has been going on with many trainers for their entire careers. And the top trainers in the industry all have HPA violations. The current Walking Horse Trainers Association board has, I believe, 137 HPA violations among them. So this act was introduced in April of last year by Congressman Ed Whitfield of Kentucky and Congressman Steve Cohen of here in Tennessee. It's the Prevent All Soaring Tactics Act, or the PAST Act, H.R. 1518 and S. 1406 in the Senate. It was introduced to close the loopholes that have allowed soaring to continue for over 40 years. It prohibits the use of the stacks, the chains, the bands, the heavy shoes that are all used in 3 specific breeds to soar horses. It eliminates the industry self-regulation that has been such a failure and makes USDA responsible for overseeing a program of independent, third-party licensed inspectors. It makes the act of soaring for the purpose of showing or selling a horse a crime, and it increases the penalties so that there will finally be an effective deterrent to soaring. The PAST Act only affects small segments of 3 gaited breeds where the violators are soaring horses and harming the reputation of the entire gaited horse industry and, in fact, the entire horse industry. This is why you have groups like the American Horse Council actively supporting passage of the PAST Act. It's currently co-sponsored by over half of Congress, 269 House of Representatives members currently and 51 senators. It is backed, as I said, by the horse industry, with broad support from the American Horse Council, several state horse councils, the U.S. Equestrian Federation, which passed a rule in December of 2012, which essentially has the same impact of the PAST Act. You can't show a walking, racking, or spotted saddle horse at a USCF-sanctioned show with the equipment that the PAST Act would prohibit. It has the support of the nation's veterinary community, several breed groups, including the Quarter Horse Association, and other breed groups which use pads in their training and exhibition, like the Saddle Horse Association, Morgan Horse Association, Arabian Horse Association, and others. And most Tennessee walking horse owners support the PAST Act, as well as all of the nation's leading animal protection groups. Recently, there has been an alternative, I call it a sham bill to the PAST Act, called H.R. 4098, introduced by Representative Marsha Blackburn from here in Tennessee. It has, I believe, 11 co-sponsors, including all of the Republican delegation from the state of Tennessee. It creates, let you know a few of the things that it does. It creates one industry HIO, instead of having USDA certify several. One industry HIO that's led by people that are chosen by the Kentucky and Tennessee State Agriculture Commissioners and the Walking Horse Trainers Association, all groups that have been extremely effective at ending soring. That HIO will decide how it will fill vacancies. So in other words, once that initial panel that's been appointed by those groups decides to resign, the HIO itself will decide who gets to sit on it. And it will establish its own conflict of interest rules. It'll determine whether sitting on this HIO board will be a conflict of interest or not. It revokes all of the other HIO certifications, including those that are doing a good job and have a very high compliance rate with the HPA. And it purports to require that scientific inspection methods be used, which would likely eliminate digital palpation as a primary means of detecting soring. The reality is that there is currently numerous scientific methods being used. We'll hear about some of those later, I'm sure, from our friends at the USDA, by the USDA in the field, and they are routinely rebuffed by the industry. The Blackburn bill, H.R. 4898, does not do anything to address the use of the equipment that's used to soar horses, the stacks, the chains, and the shoes. Whitfield's bill, the PAST Act, does. It does not eliminate the failed programs of industry self-regulation, but in fact codifies it and makes it permanent forever. It does not increase the civil or criminal penalties. The PAST Act does. It does not do anything about the actual soaring of a horse. Right now, it's perfectly legal to soar a horse all day long, as long as you don't take it to a show or a sale or an auction. That's the only place that it's illegal right now, under the Horse Protection Act. State of Tennessee law is different, but under the Horse Protection Act, it's only illegal if you're out in public. The PAST Act strengthens USDA's authority to enforce, as I said, and the Blackburn bill does just the opposite. And the PAST Act requires horse show management, as they do now in most cases, to continue to pay for the privilege of having inspectors there to guarantee that the horses are in compliance with the Horse Protection Act. The Blackburn bill doesn't address how we're going to fund all of this required technology that it purports to require. Some recent statements made about the differences between the two bills. The Tennessean recently posted an editorial saying Representative Ed Whitfield's walking horse legislation would end soaring. Representative Marsha Blackburn's would enable it. A statement by the AVMA very strongly came out right after the Blackburn bill was introduced. And just yesterday, the American Horse Council issued a statement saying that they oppose the Blackburn bill and continue to support the Prevent All Soaring Tactics Act. I'd like to talk a little bit about the future. And I want to make one thing very clear that everyone here can understand. The Humane Society of the United States, my employer, supports the humane and responsible use and enjoyment of true horsemen and natural horsemanship. We are in no way against horse ownership. Some of our detractors, particularly some in the walking horse industry, have tried to use this false motto that the HSUS is about eliminating horse ownership and horse riding. Nothing could be further from the truth. In fact, we encourage and reward it. Last year, we introduced a program called the Now That's a Walking Horse program. The purpose of this is to promote the versatility, temperament, and athleticism of one of the world's greatest horse breeds. For too long, the stigma of soaring has given people the idea that all a walking horse is good for is going around the ring, and going around the ring, stepping high and soar. We know that's not true, but that's the image that the world had. Tracy Boyd at the Breeders' Association said it. You've lost the public. You've got to get it back. We want to recognize the participation of people who are doing these great things with their horses in multi-breed events. Showing to ourselves is not going to sell the horse. We've got to get that horse out there, as Gary said. Show the rest of the world what this horse can do. And we want to encourage the improvement and of skills of the horse and rider. So our program has 3 components. One is a recognition award program where we recognize amateur owners and amateur owner trainers and riders using their Tennessee walking horses in new and unique venues. There's plenty of venues for people to go around riding their flat shod horses in a ring. That's great, but we want to get this horse out there where the rest of the world can see it. We have a grants program where we provide funding to therapeutic riding programs and people who are putting on natural horsemanship clinics for gaited horses. And we just this year introduced a promotion component where people who are going out to expos and doing demos and showing the world what the horse can do in a non-competitive environment, but more of a promotion environment, can be rewarded as well. Last year, we gave away almost $10,000 to individuals who either had natural horsemanship clinics or therapeutic riding horses that they were using in their programs, walking horses, or to people who were doing new and unique things. There was an endurance rider who got a very nice grant last year. This year, we have $25,000 available. We really want to get the word out. We've got some information on the program here in our booth, so please pick it up. Or you can always just Google HSUS, Now That's a Walking Horse, and you'll find information on our website. These are just some of the things that we know Tennessee walkers can do. These are all walking horses. We want to show the world that every different venue and discipline out there the walking horse can compete in, and some they can darn well excel in. We want to change the way the world looks at the Tennessee walking horse. Our motto at the Humane Society of the Knights is celebrating animals and confronting cruelty. Well, we've certainly done a lot to confront cruelty, but we're also celebrating the human-animal bond and the human-equine bond through our program. As I said, I started off talking about the past and the past act. I truly believe that the Tennessee walking horse is America's horse of the future if we treat it well, reward people who are doing great things with them, and put soaring behind us. Thank you.